gonna say thick and soft, and it came out soft, but there you have it. Good morning, friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very busy day for me. It is my bestie's birthday and also her baby shower. So we're gonna be getting ready for that today. Oh, before we get started, I really wanted to show you something that I got. So the other day I was thinking about how I haven't gotten a Vox box in a while, and I was wondering if like they forgot about me or they just like didn't want me anymore. So I checked out the app and, you know, just like was just checking, just looking at it, and then I think a few hours later I actually got an email saying that I had a Vox box coming, and I was like, oh, like this is exciting. So I was all stoked, and I'm like, let me go check out this email, see what I'm getting, and let me show you what I got. So again, yeah, I was literally like, okay, where's my Vox box at? And then I got my email and I was like, okay, it's like we're thinking the same thing. I come home and my mom's like, did you not see your package on the staircase? And I was like, what package? Like, I fully walked by it. I didn't even take it in. And here it is. Ta-da! We are reviewing some toilet paper. Nothing wrong with that. I just thought it was so funny. The first box I ever got was the Kat Von D box, I believe. And that was makeup. And here I am, a couple videos later, and I got toilet paper to review. I'm actually pretty excited about this, don't get me wrong. Literally picked it up and showed my sister, and I'm like, look, it's velour. It's Royale's plushiest and thickest bath tissue ever. Yeah. Got a whole package right here. But yeah, I just thought I would share that with you guys. I thought it was pretty cool. And I also thought it was pretty funny because I was thinking about it, and the next thing you know, I got a Vox box. And yeah, so thank you, Influencer, for sending me this. Super excited to have it. We love us some good toilet paper, so we use Royale in my house. So I'm actually very happy to have this. Anyways, next up on the list is, like I mentioned, it is my friend's birthday today, and it's also her baby shower. So I am still wrapping the gifts. I'm just going to quickly wrap this up now, and then I'm gonna head over to her house because I'm gonna help with decorating and picking up food, and then I'm gonna come back and get ready for the party, and then you'll get your story time. Spill the tea on my old workplace for you. Side note, I forgot a card. So it's 11:35 and I was supposed to be at Felicia's 5 minutes ago. So I'm gonna head over there now and start setting up, and maybe I'll give you guys a little behind the scenes.
Oh, I was a baby.
Still a baby. I'm still a baby.
Don't be rude.
Okay, so we're back. I'm just gonna quickly get ready for Felicia's baby shower / birthday party. And chat with you guys while I do so. So one thing a lot of people may not know who watch this channel was that I had a full-time job with another company. Now this was like a permanent full-time job. I had benefits, I had a regular schedule, all that jazz. How do I start this? So basically the position that I was in, I was doing like data entry kind of stuff. We had a quota of like 250 that we were supposed to meet every day, and I was hitting it. I was doing a great job. Then next thing you know, the person who was working in the mailroom no longer wanted to that position, but she wanted to obviously stay with the company, and because she had been there for like 3 years or whatever in that position, and she basically seemed like she was calling all the shots. So she didn't want that position, so she told the manager, she's like, put me in the data entry position and find someone to do mail. So me, I guess, being the most recent hire, she was like, oh, we want to put you in the mailroom, because when I had first started in March, there was like all these difficulties with the system, And I think it was like my first day there, I was thrown into the mailroom and had to learn those things. So I had to learn all these duties that was in the mailroom, and instead of what I was actually hired for. So then the first week that I was there, the person who was supposed to be doing that position ended up being on vacation. So they had someone covering, but then somehow I got mixed into it and became like assistant to the mailroom, so to speak. Then the following week, that person also called in sick for the whole week. So again, I was thrown back into it because they're like, oh, you learned the week before, so you're capable and qualified to do so. Which again was not the position that I was hired for. Finally, I think the next 2 weeks I was trained for the position I was supposed to be doing. So that didn't even last a full month yet. So basically it was 2 weeks of being thrown into the mailroom, then 2 weeks of training, and then I finally got to be on my own for a few weeks, followed by being told that since I was, you know, so trained and capable of doing the mailroom, I was now going to be the new mailroom person so that this person could have my position. Now this person is doing my job and I'm doing theirs, and it's just a constant struggle every day because I was also told that basically everything that I was covering at the time, because it was me and this other person who were basically taking over the mailroom position when I was forced to be doing it, voluntold, so to speak, because I had just started, and that was when the lady was sick. There was duties that she was doing that I wasn't aware about that she was doing for the mailroom. When I was suddenly switched to the mailroom position, I had all these new tasks brought to me that I was not aware of when my manager was like, you're going to be doing it. So that was really shocking and annoying too, because now I had all these duties and she was just basically expecting me to be up to speed with everything, and I didn't even know how to do maybe like 70% of it. And let me tell you, my manager had a bad attitude. She was like one of those people where if you asked a question or you didn't know something, she would like talk down to you and make you feel hella stupid. And then she would come into the mailroom and be like, oh, don't be stressed, don't be overwhelmed, it's just this, don't look at it like that. And I'm like, it's literally piles of hundreds of reports, and she's just like, oh, don't be stressed out, don't be this, you just need to get it all done. But I'm new. A month of doing that position, I was just so stressed out all the time. All I could think about was the piles of paper that I had on my desk waiting for me. I don't know what's going on in this area, there's just way too many sirens going off. Yeah, so my manager would obviously not make it any easier on me. So it came to the point where I had a mental breakdown and I was crying and I just couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't eating properly, I was not sleeping properly, I was constantly stressed out. Obviously when, you know, you're not eating and you're not sleeping, I was losing weight, obviously in an unhealthy way. And yeah, I was just constantly stressed, I was constantly miserable, and I was so unhappy. It was not the position I signed up for, and I didn't appreciate being thrown into it and basically like, well, you don't have a choice. And obviously during my 3-month probation, all I could think about was, if I don't take this, does that mean I'm fired? Does that mean I no longer have a job? The company also didn't have a stable HR system or HR person for us. So within the first 6 months of me being at the company, I was constantly going to HR and I was always having to deal with different people. I think I dealt with 3 different people in the first few months, and it's just hard because you don't feel like it's going to the right people, because they're obviously all over the place and they're doing their own thing, and you just don't see any changes happening. So you're just like, am I even being heard? And obviously my mental health was just not in a good place. Yeah, again, I was just really unhappy, and I was just telling myself like, you know what, like stick it out for a little bit longer. But then it came to that point where I had that mental breakdown and I was basically like, you know what, if it comes down to this, I'll just go to the part-time job. I'll just ask them for more hours. I'll open up my availability. I'll do what I have to do to get through it and like survive. Again, my manager was just kind of like, oh, well, other people have done this position before and they're able to do all of this in this period of time. And then she had the audacity to tell me that the mailroom job was a 1.5 person job. Is that still not more than one person? That's 1.5 people. I can't do the job of 1.5 people. And I should not be forced to do the job of 1.5 people. That's no. And to be paid like what, $15 an hour? I don't think so. So yeah, I had my manager being a complete B and just making me feel like shit for not wanting the position that I did not apply for, I was not hired for. It was just that the person who didn't want to do the mail, who was in the mailroom, who she favored more, didn't want to do that job anymore, and she's just made it happen for her. But she could not make me getting my position back happen for me. She's like, oh, I have to talk to my supervisor, we're gonna have to figure something out for you, because I was still new, and find somebody to replace in the mailroom, and it's gonna take some time, it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that, blah blah blah. She ended up getting like a slap on the wrist because she put me in a position again that I was not hired for. My contract did not say that I was doing anything like that, so I could have gotten her in a whole lot more trouble, but obviously it didn't, because I didn't know things were gonna go down the way that it did a year later. I did keep a journal throughout my period of time with that company, basically just like keeping notes of things that she would say to me or ways that she would treat me, and then even things that she would say to other people, and unfortunately did get back to me. So to start off, I guess we can talk about lunch. This is one of the big things that stood out to me and really like started to make me feel really uncomfortable around her. First day of work, I was sitting at my table. I was fine. I had my headphones in. I think I was on the phone at the time too, and I was just like looking at things, and she goes, Ashley, come sit with us. And I'm like, no, I'm okay, like I'm just on the phone. She goes, excuse me? And I'm like, I'm just finishing up a phone call. I did not want to make this woman like upset at the time. Obviously you're new, it's your first day, like you don't want to start trouble, you don't want to come off as rude or like I'm better than anyone else. I literally just wanted to eat lunch by myself, but that wasn't gonna happen. So she's like, excuse me, come sit here. And I was just like, sure, I'll be right there. Got off the phone. I think I was talking to my boyfriend at the time, and she started asking me all these questions about like my part-time job. She was asking, sorry, not even asking, she told me to give her my Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I don't really use Facebook. And she's just like, well, if you have a profile, like let me see. And I was just like, okay. And then obviously my Facebook is my basically my username for everything, which is Pixie. So she made a face because of it being Pixie and not Ashley, which is my real name, and then it was just downhill from there. Yeah, so she adds me on Facebook, and I think a couple days later I end up like restricting her on certain things, because I found out what she does is go on Facebook, because she gets off like an hour and a half before I was getting off, and she would basically go online on Facebook and just wait and watch to see if you come on before the time that you're off. And she was doing that to another girl like every single night, because the girl got off at 7:30, and she would just like go and sit on Facebook and just be like, oh, well, you were on Facebook at 7:28 and you're supposed to be off work at 7:30, so why are you on Facebook? Because we weren't allowed to use our phones. I don't know, I guess the whole delivery of it was very unprofessional, where she was just like, well, give me your Facebook. And I was just like really uncomfortable about it. I don't see why you need to have your employees on Facebook. Like, you're my manager, back off. So I guess the next lunch incident would be that I had ordered fish and chips for lunch one day. My coworker was also getting it, so we walked together to go pick it up. And I didn't realize, but my coworker was also getting for her, our manager. And then our manager decided to sit with us at lunch. I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, like not a big deal. I don't really care personally. I just wanted to eat my food. She sits at the table with us and I start eating my fish and chips. And I guess this is abnormal, but I like to eat my fish and chips with tartar sauce. They like to eat it with malt vinegar or ketchup. I don't. I like my tartar sauce. She decided to make that an issue. She decided to tell me that I was disgusting for eating tartar sauce, and that to her, tartar sauce, while I'm eating this, by the way, tartar sauce looked like jizz with chunks in it. And if you don't know what jizz is, she was referring to sperm. Obviously, that's wildly inappropriate. You should not be saying that to anybody. You should not be talking about anyone's food while they're eating. And I just think I've always thought this to be so immature for someone to comment on someone's food, period. If it's not what you're eating, shut up. I get it that, yeah, we were both having the same thing. We just eat it with different condiments. What's your deal? Unfortunately, there was another lunch incident where she decided to tell me again I was disgusting because I was eating shrimp in my food. She doesn't like shrimp, so no one should eat it, I guess. And obviously it's very embarrassing when you have other people at the table and she's saying these things to you and you're just like speechless. Exactly, just speechless. And you're just like, what do I even say to that? How do I even like be comfortable at this point around you? Again, I did bring that up to HR and never had to eat lunch with her again. So I don't know if HR told her she wasn't allowed to eat lunch with us or what happened, but after that, she never did eat lunch with me again. At least I saw her eat with other people, but she would never sit at my table. Yeah, then just throughout the rest of my time there, it was just a lot of making me feel stupid. Or one thing she even admitted to this too was, like, to other people, she was giving me all these duties and things to do that had nothing to do with me. Suddenly I was being cross-trained on all these different things, and she was just like, oh yeah, like, we just want to build you up to be like the replacement for the team lead when she goes on vacation. And I'm like, okay, cool. One thing she had said to other employees about me was specifically, and I quote, "How much can we push Ashley until she quits?" Those were her words. She wanted to know how much shit she could throw at me before I would up and leave the company. That was her goal. Unfortunately, she was not successful because I did not leave when she was expecting me to, and she just kept throwing more and more stuff at me, and again, I was just knocking these things out of the park. Fast forward to COVID, my boss decides that I don't need to work from home. I can replace the person who was currently in the mailroom. Mind you, the person who was in the mailroom before, she was now on disability leave because she was having her own personal issues. So she was on disability leave, and now we had another person who was working, who just so happens to be my friend. And obviously, as you guys know, I'm going to her baby shower today, so she is pregnant. And but my boss decided that I didn't need to work from home. I was going to replace her in the mailroom because I was basically the next person in line for the mailroom because I knew it. So I get thrown again into the mailroom as I did the year before. Literally, it was like, because COVID hit like March, I think March 17th, around that was when they were like, okay, people need to work from home. So yeah, it was basically March 17th. That's when I think March 18th, everyone else got to go home around that time. Everyone else started working from home, and I was left at the office with 2 other people, and the supervisor now, so my manager's manager, has the audacity to tell me that the other girls leave at 3 and I'm scheduled till 4:30 and I should be okay for an hour and a half by myself. And I'm like, no, because there's no way in hell that I'm staying on this floor by myself, because no employee should be left in a building by themselves anywhere. I don't care how small the store is, you shouldn't be in a place by yourself. That's how I see it, and that's how I always see it, and that's how much I will stand by it. So then my supervisor wasn't any better. She was a witch on her own. I had the unfortunate experience with both my manager and this supervisor. My team lead was alright. Anyway, so initially I had planned to quit, I believe, March 24th. So I had given, I was not even going to give 2 weeks notice. I wrote a letter, and I was literally going to be like, as of like this day, I'm no longer there. I had my letter on the computer and everything. I typed it up at work because I was going to print it on their paper and not give a shit. So I did that, had it all ready, and then yeah, COVID hit. I know I shouldn't complain because I was very grateful that I had a job, and I was very happy that I did not give my notice in, or give a notice in, because I wasn't planning to. Basically the CEO, they were trying to go against the CEO first of all, because he had said that we would be on reduced hours if we were working in office, but we would be paid for a full day. And suddenly my manager and supervisor felt like, no, you don't need to. And I was like, no, if I'm gonna be in the office, you guys are gonna have to figure it out. And I'm gonna be going home on reduced hours as the CEO agreed to. Yeah, so that was a struggle for some part, because they just did not want to really let me live or have any kind of happiness in their company. So the next thing that happened was, during this time, they ended up hiring another girl who had worked with the company prior. Literally, they were like, oh, like, this girl starts on this day and we need you out and you can work from home. And I was just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, they literally just kicked me out the door, as if everything and anything that I did was not, like, beneficial to the company. And it was just really like a slap in the face. Yeah, so it was literally like, okay, you need to leave. So I packed up my stuff and started working from home. I worked at home for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then I got the call that my store was opening back up, and they said, like, are you gonna be available for full-time? And I'm like, girl, let me just get my wisdom tooth pulled out really quick. I had my 2 wisdom teeth pulled out because I wanted to use my benefits. I was paying into my benefits, I might as well use them. So got my wisdom teeth extracted and took, I think, that week off. I know it was July 14th. I worked the full day. I packed up my stuff, snuck into the office, left all my stuff where IT was, left like my badge and everything, and went home and sent an email saying I quit. I gave all these reasons about, you know, my experience working with the company, about how, like, I felt like I was being picked on, and I felt like I was just, you know, like a target, and this was going on for months. Well, it was over a year, and I sent it to the CEO. I sent it to HR, who at that point we had finally gotten a stable HR lady, and she was amazing. I sent it to my manager as well as my manager's manager. That sparked a lot of problems, I guess. HR did reach out to me, and she wanted to make sure, like, I was okay, and with the amount of times I had been to HR, she could tell the difference in my voice, and how happy I was to no longer be, you know, imprisoned at that workplace. I was out of that toxic environment. I told her my anxiety had finally gone away. Even in the email I mentioned that, like, this was the first time that I felt like I could confront, and I wasn't shaking, I wasn't stressed, I was relieved. And I honestly will say I think that was a beautiful moment for me, where I just finally felt at ease. And then there was obviously a point where I was still trying to figure things out with HR, because I wasn't being paid properly suddenly. Of course, there was money missing from my paycheck, my last paycheck, because my manager somehow didn't input the numbers right all of a sudden. But yeah, when I tell you, like, it took a toll on my mental health in so many ways. I was just stressed all the time. I was, you know, just really not in a good place or space, and removing myself from that situation has changed my life in so many ways. I was miserable at this, you know, it was 8:30 to 4:30 shift. If you were a minute late, this woman would attack you. I used to have anxiety driving because I did not want to be a second late because of how she made you feel, and would embarrass you in front of everyone. It just felt like no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, she didn't appreciate it because she just didn't like me. And, you know, when HR finally reached out to the other employees of her, the people that she was like looking over in her department, a lot of things came to light, and a lot of people spoke up about their interactions with this manager, and you know, a lot of it included her being straight up racist and things that she would say to people and the way she would treat them. Dealing with that for over a year, it was hard, and I'm so grateful. Oh my god, I'm gonna get emotional. I can't get emotional because I just did my makeup. Okay, yeah, anyway. It was just really important to me to have such a strong support system back at my other store, which I'm now happy to say I'm working there full time. To go from working in such a toxic environment and being bullied in my workplace, you know, to literally have my manager go to other employees and tell other employees not to sit with me at lunch. It was simple as that. She would tell other employees, don't sit with Ashley at lunch, don't get too close to Ashley. She just made me out to seem like such a bad person. And even when the new person was hired for the mailroom, like when they kicked me out, she would say all these like negative things about me, and I wasn't even there. I had nothing to do with this lady, other than that she oversaw me, but she would go to this new girl and tell her all these terrible things about me, and the girl didn't even know me. So it was basically like, now if I was to meet her, she would just have all these like preconceived like ideas of me and who I am as a person, which is not even true or close to what this woman was making me out to be. So yeah, it's really important to take care of your mental health. Again, I wasn't doing that for over a year. I was constantly feeling anxious and sick to my stomach, going to work every day. I looked forward to having my days off, but I also looked forward to working on the weekend because I was going to my part-time job on the weekend, and this is where I was seeing people that genuinely make me feel good. That's including my management. My management always treated me with respect and kindness, and they were always so understanding. I remember when my godmother passed away, I had gone to my full-time job, and I told her, and I was literally crying, and I told her, and what happened was that we had taken her off life support, but she passed like 2 days later. And I told my boss, I was like, you know, I'm giving you a heads up that I may be taking time off for a funeral because we have taken her off life support, and the funeral was expected to be the next day after that. When I did tell my boss, I'm like, my godmother passed away and I will need tomorrow off for her funeral, she laughed and said, okay, well, let me know if anything changes. And that was it. Now, the day that my godmother passed away, I had also gone to my part-time job. I was literally working back to back, and I did not want to call in sick or anything like that because it was just kind of like a informational night that the family was going to meet and just let everyone know like where the funeral was going to be held and like those arrangements and whatnot. And I remember my manager actually just looked me in the face, and she's like, Ash, what's wrong? Like, you don't seem like yourself. And I just, you know, I got emotional. Obviously, I was very close with my godmother. And she's just like, let's go to the back. So we go to the back, and I told her, I was like, you know, my godmother passed away, and she's like, go home, go be with your family. And she's like, you know, if you need any time off, let us know, we'll cover your shifts, we'll do what we have to do. And but she's like, right now you need to go home and be with your family. It just really shook me how different the two settings were. You know, I'm at a full-time job where I get, you know, I get paid for bereavement, I get paid for my days off, and they were just so cold. She was just so cold to me, and just made me feel like how I felt was a joke. And then here I was at my part-time job, and they were just so understanding and so kind to me, and were ready to make whatever changes they needed to make to their schedule, as inconvenient, like as much of an inconvenience it was, they were gonna do it. And they offered. They didn't even, you know, I didn't even have to ask. Oh, this really sucks because I just did my makeup. I wasn't expecting to get emotional. Anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say is I left my full-time job because it was a toxic work environment. It was a toxic place for my mental health, my happiness. Everything was just being put on the back burner just so I could have a paycheck coming in every month. It was very, very hard for over a year, and then finally I made the decision that I didn't need to live like that. I wasn't gonna put myself through that anymore, and I don't think anyone should put themselves through that. I don't think anyone should be treated the way that I was treated when I was there, and I think everyone deserves to be treated the way that I am treated at my part-time job, which is again now my full-time job. And I have all these beautiful people around me every single day that I get to work with. I feel like I'm working with a team. I actually feel like I'm part of a team. I feel like I'm part of this family. And at my other job I didn't feel like that. I felt like I was just scum between my manager's toes. That's how she treated me. And yeah, I just wanted to share my story about why I left, and just like remind everyone that you don't have to go through that. Keep working hard. I know people want to prove others wrong, and in the end you need to do what makes you happy. I really hope at the end of the day you're taking care of yourself and you're taking care of your mental health, because that's a lot more important than a lot of people think. Or sometimes you just tell yourself that, okay, like I'll focus on it another day. No, like give yourself those little pockets of peace. I've been hearing that a lot from Nabila. If you haven't heard of Nabila Noor, check her out on Instagram and YouTube. I really appreciate her pockets of peace, but you need that, and I just hope everyone takes advantage of that. I'm gonna cut this short. Well, I think it's long as is, but I'm gonna cut this off now and get finished with getting ready for this party, because I am hella late now. I didn't expect to be so emotional. I am sorry for that. If any of you guys got emotional, I do apologize. Let me go. Alright, so I figured I would just close off the video here. Just thank you guys for watching. I know this was unintentionally emotional, even though like I wasn't planning for it to be anything. I thought I was kind of like good, in a good space, in a good place. Like I didn't really think I would feel that way when I was talking about things. But thank you guys for watching my video and watching my get ready with me, listening to my story time. I'm gonna end the video here so I can just like enjoy the rest of the time with my family and friends. As always, guys, stay safe and stay sane, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.